Hey PreAlgebra, this is Mr. Rigger again. This time we're going to be talking about multiplying and dividing integers. So, if we want to multiply the absolute values of two numbers, that will help us to multiply integers and find the value of the number. But it's not going to help us find the sign. So, let's go ahead and work through this a little bit. So, if I have 8 times 3, that's 24. We know that from years and years of practice doing times tables. But really I have a positive 8 times a positive 3. So I'm going to do 8 times 3, and that's going to give me 24. Now, that 24 is going to be positive because I have a plus and a plus. So positive times positive is positive. Now, negative times negative is also going to give us a positive number. So there's a lot of different reasons we can think about this. So one way to think about this is I have negative 8. And if I had negative 8 3 times, I'd actually have negative 8 times 3. And I'd end up with negative 8 plus negative 8 plus negative 8. And that's going to give me negative 24. So that's not exactly the same thing as this. This is times negative 3. So what's going on when I'm taking a group and I'm making it negative over and over and over again? So I have 8 times negative 3 and negative 8 times negative 3, and that's a little bit harder to think about than 8 times 3, 3 groups of 8, or 3 groups of negative 8. So really what's happening here is I've got a negative 8, and I'm going to take a group of the opposite of that, and then another group of the opposite of that, and another group of the opposite of that. So this is 3 groups of the opposite of negative 8. That's one way to think about it. Another thing you could do is this. You could say, well, 8 times 3 is 24. And then I have a negative sign on the one and a negative sign on the other. Now negative, another way to say that is opposite. So what's the opposite of negative 24? Well, the opposite of negative 24 is positive 24. So that's another way we could think about it. So over here I have 8 times negative 3. So I could think about this 2 different ways. I could say, okay, so this is 3 groups of 8, but because of this negative, it's the opposite. I'm taking the opposite of a group of 8, which is a group of negative 8. Or you could say, you know what? This is 8 times 3 is 24, and I have a positive and a negative. So I want the same as negative 24, which is negative 24. Alright, we're going to cut it there, guys.